lot of people think you need to spend hundreds of dollars to get a katana that functions well and that you can cut with. That's not necessarily the case. In the $70 to $150 price range, there's katana with blades that are tempered well, they're sharp, and you can use them right out of the box for excellent cutting. A big part that determines the cost of a katana is the type of steel used in the blade. At the lower end, like I said, you'll see 1045 high carbon steel, and this is like steel that has a decent amount of carbon content, and you can make a good resilient blade out of it. But if you move up to something like 1060, 1070, 1095, the higher that number goes, the more carbon content is in the blade. The more carbon content is in the blade, the more it can be hardened. Higher hardenability can make a tougher and more resilient katana. So that's what those numbers correspond to. And then there's other steels that are even nicer, which are kind of like either premium steels. These I would classify as spring steels, like 5160, 9260, or alloy tool steels like T10. Now what these steels bring is these are alloy steels. They bring other elements that can improve hardenability, and in the case of something like 5160, can actually give it a very spring-like temper. So the sword can flex and return true in a way that plain carbon steels cannot. Now premium tier katanas start at about, I'd say, $500 to $600, and they can go up from there. And what you're looking at now with these type of katana is usually a better fit and finish, a better polish, more attention to aesthetics, and more attention to detail, especially traditional detail. And what these katana, what you'll see on these is you'll see nicer, tighter fittings between components, more seamlessness, less gap filling. You'll see better pegs, a nicer wrap. The hilt components might be of like not only a nice metal, but they might have silver and gold and a nice finish to them. Polished to a higher level, and that polishing takes quite a bit of time to get right and make it look nice, and that's where a lot of that cost is going to come from, is to give it this luminous gleam for the really high-end katanas that you'll see. Now for some of these premium katanas that feature a real fine polish, it's beautiful to look at for sure. But one thing to note though is that the nicer the polish is, the more fine polish it is, usually the more delicate that finish is, and it can take scratches more easily. So that's one thing to note, is that the more beautiful that polish is, when you're using it, it's easier for it to get a scratch. They're harder to fit. So I hope this basic overview of using a kind of filter process and then a little bit of detail about what you can get at different price points helps you make a selection of the katanas that we have here at Kult of Athena. There's many to pick from, and like I said, it could be bewildering at first, but if you follow this process that I laid out, you can eliminate a lot of things that you don't necessarily want or need, and then you can also help zero in and target something that is going to work for you.